Hello, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to all of you from London and good afternoon from India. I am Asia, your host for today, joining all of you from London. A happy Ganesh Chaturthi to all of you who are celebrating the festival in India and different parts of the globe. 1st September marked the initiation of the National Nutrition Week, and today our topic of discussion is healthy eating, healthy aging, and our guest for today is Nilanjana Basu. Before I introduce Nilanjana, I'll just give a brief introduction to the history of National Nutrition Week and the significance of nutrition. Historically, it was led by Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. It was started in the US in 1980 to promote healthy eating and raise awareness about the importance of proper nutrition. In India, the week is marked with various activities and campaigns and is a crucial platform for highlighting the advantage of a balanced diet. The theme of National Nutrition Week this year is nutritious diet for everyone and supports the United Nations goals for sustainable development. When it comes to a happy and nutritious diet for everyone, we are committed to focusing on the geriatric population and discuss on healthy nutrition for the elderly. So it is my pleasure to welcome today's guest, Nilanjana Basu. Nilanjana, a very warm
Thank
welcome
you.
to the show. Namaskar, a very warm welcome.
Namaskar.
Thank you for coming on board today. And to introduce Nilanjana, Nilanjana did her postgraduate in English from University of Calcutta and then diploma in mass comm. Following that, she has a diploma in social work from National Council of Education and Jadavpur University. In Jadavpur University, she has then worked with elder care home and recently completed her postgraduate diploma in gerontology and age management from Calcutta Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology. During this time, she was trained in nutrition for the elderly, the nutritional needs for the elderly, and she has also conducted her independent research. So, warm welcome, Nilanjana. Without wasting
Thank
any
you.
further time, I would be starting today's talk show. So,
Yeah.
Nilanjana, to start, please tell us that what is geriatric diet, and in your view, how is it different from the rest of the population and other age groups?
Yes. Actually, nutrition is a holistic thing. Like we
Right.
take food, we ingest it, then we digest and then absorb, and all these things, all these nutrients are in course of time through our bloodstream. It get utilized by our body. So the entire process is very, very complicated. And the primary job is done by the gastrointestinal tract of our body. As we age, what happens is we undergo, all our body parts undergo several changes. And this gastrointestinal tract is one of them where a lot of change takes place. Starting from the place from where we take the food, our mouth, the gum, our gum recession take place. We lose our teeth, so the masticatory function is lost. And whenever we take the food, what happens, there is some organ called epiglottis. It closes and the food gets inside the esophagus instead of the respiratory tract. Now, even the epiglottis doesn't work properly. But however, the salivary glands start the work when we chew and grind our food. But in old age, these salivary glands do not function anymore. So the first part is hampered. Next, when it goes into the esophagus, what happens is in esophagus there are some more enzymes. Those are not, secreted properly, and then it goes to the stomach where the main acidic reaction takes place. Now in stomach, the same amount of acid is not secreted. The mucosal layer, that undergoes some changes. So the acidic, whatever acid is secreted, that That also comes out. There is a sphincter muscle which actually stops the acid from coming out of the stomach into the esophagus. And then that also doesn't function properly. Then we have with several other organs like pancreas secretes amylase, lipase, protease. All these things work together to digest our carbohydrate, protein, fat, but these also do not function properly. Not actually the amount of all these enzymes required to digest properly, that amount decreases. Now next what happens is, now the small intestinal part where the food is absorbed. But the food, there is a structure called villi, and there the food absorption takes place. But due to changes of cellular activities, absorption is not done properly. And then again the large intestine, which has several important factors, like it secretes alkaline substances which reduces acidity, and which also reabsorbs water. And what it does, it reabsorbs water, absorbs water, and help in forming the stool. And in most of the elderly people you would find constipation. So once the waste products are not removed properly from our body, we don't feel hungry. The amount of food that we take in are not digested properly because your system is not working properly. This is the problem in geriatric digestion. So nutrition is a holistic thing. Like it has to be ingested properly, digested properly, utilized properly, which does not take place in geriatric population. That is very, very different from others.
That's right. Thank you so much, Nilanjana, for giving a beautiful explanation of the stepwise biological perspective of the whole thing. I mean, it was so well explained. And as you said, that there are so many biological changes which are taking place with age and leading to, the malfunctioning of the system.
Exactly.
And as we know, and as nutrition is of course a holistic thing, and due to all these malfunctioning and physical decline, we know that elderly people suffer from a range of geriatric diseases, and that's when nutrition plays a crucial role in management of diseases. So
Absolutely.
yes, so diabetes is a very common condition among the elderly. I mean, it's a very common condition
The
that
most
the
common one, yes.
right. So, what would
Yes.
you like to say about diabetes and nutrition?
See, again, just as I was explaining, why does this diabetes happen? Because our pancreas doesn't work properly. What is diabetes? That glucose level in our blood increases, and insulin. We pancreas secretes insulin, which helps to absorb our cells to be absorbed in the insulin to be absorbed in our cells, the sugar to be absorbed in our cells, which we ultimately use for different purpose, for functioning of all our body organs. So if less insulin is produced, what happens is the glucose level increases in your blood, and the cells of the body organs do not, mainly the cells of the liver, they do not get glucose. So what happens whenever there is an increase of glucose in blood? That invites host of diseases. Okay, so now what we can do is, there are several methods of controlling diabetes, but the first and foremost method is actually diet. What kind of diet is required? The first thing is to restrict sugar and carbohydrate. But then mind you, carbohydrate gives the primary part of the energy that is required in our daily life. So
Absolutely.
we need carbohydrate. How will we get? We'll not get from direct sugar. We will take complex carbohydrate like cereals. So, what are the cereals from where we get complex carbohydrates? Those are wheat, oats, barley, millet, cracked wheat. Cracked wheat is what we call dalia in India, and that is very very popular. And millet is also a very good source of carbohydrate. But however, we also get carbohydrate from some vegetables, some leguminous plants, and some fruits also. But mostly we try to restrict fruits like say for mango, which is very rich in sugar. We restrict, sometimes we restrict in chiku, and we restrict in pineapple, and we try to concentrate more on the citrus fruits. So what we target is that to control the excess sugar in the blood, because insulin is not being produced in enough amount by the pancreas. The next step, of course, is medication. And then at times it is, insulin is also injected, but those are secondary. But we, in our field of gerontology, we try exercises, but the first part is of course diet. Okay, these are the carbohydrate takes, like complex carbohydrate takes a lot of time to get digested. So in that case, these complex carbohydrates are perfect source of energy for the diabetic patients.
Thank you, Nilanjana. So, as I understand that you have greatly highlighted the role of complex carbs, and it is a very important component of the diet for the diabetic patients, and to restrict the amount of simple sugars that they're taking.
Exactly.
And one thing that which Nilanjana said, which is again quite important and relevant, she has highlighted the role of complementary disciplines and complementary habits like uh, exercises, leading a healthy lifestyle, and of course, as she said, that medication is plays the indispensable role. So medication has to be there whenever the need of
Yeah,
medication is there, coupled with a balanced and proper diet.
absolutely.
So, Nilanjana, thank you. Now, if we progress in our discussion, and after diabetes, let's move to another condition now. Osteoporosis is a very common condition, as you would agree, within the elderly,
Mm.
especially elderly females
Yeah,
suffer a lot from osteoporosis. So,
exactly.
when it comes to, I'm pretty sure that nutrition can play a very important role when it comes to osteoporosis. So I would love to hear from you regarding osteoporosis and the role of nutrition.
Absolutely. Actually, at any point of time, 10% of the skeletal, the bones undergo remodeling at any
Right.
point of time of our life. The bone destruction activity goes on. It increases when this destruction activity goes on throughout our life. But when we get old, what happens is destruction is happens, but the reconstruction, you know that gets slowed down. So what happens is we lose bones. We lose what we actually lose is we lose calcium content, the calcium ions of our bones, because for this calcium synthesis we need estrogen. So we start losing estrogen, that is again a hormonal activity. Okay, now what happens is, like, how will you prevent osteoporosis? Very difficult, but then we can start it from very early life. But in geriatric patients also, we give calcium supplements, but that is not enough. We should have, calcium rich food. Geriatric patients usually cannot tolerate milk, then we should introduce all types of milk product like yogurt, like cottage cheese, and then we can, like, what we call chana in Bengali and in India, then paneer. Okay, and we can the sesame food, sesame seeds. There are very very rich sorts of calcium. So all these supplements can be introduced in their diet. Apart from that, vitamin D3, it plays a very important role in calcium synthesis and retaining. Okay, how will you get vitamin D3? Of course, egg yolk is a good source of vitamin D3, but maximum amount of vitamin D3 is synthesized in our skin, under our skin, from sunlight. So, if we can expose ourselves, especially our geriatric population, to sunlight for some minutes, some hours, early in the morning, that would be better. I'm sure that would give you some result. Okay, we can prevent osteoporosis. A very healthy diet, with a milk product and calcium rich sesame seeds. Okay.
Okay, that's a very important piece of information. Thank you so much, Nilanjana, for explaining that in such a lucid way. I'm sure that the audience is really enjoying the show, and I can see an overwhelming amount of positive response coming from the audience. It's very encouraging to see so many of us joining you today. A big thanks to all of you, and thank you so much. And we are going to continue with the discussion now. And Nilanjana, so from after osteoporosis, you see, let us go into the domain of some neurological disorder. As you know that the show timing is limited and geriatric disease is such a vast subject. We can only touch base on a few topics in the scope and the spectrum of today's show. Let us proceed to some of the neurological disorders that are quite common in the geriatric population.
Yeah.
So, what about Parkinson's disease,
Yeah,
which
actually, Parkinson disease is a neurodegenerative disease.
right?
Now, you know, it is very, very common nowadays. I don't know why that research is going on about it. What happens is Parkinson. It is the basal ganglia of our brain, you know, some lewy body develop in that, and they stop functioning properly. Hmm. Now what happens? Now coming to the nutrition, what in Parkinson, the maximum problem what happens is in this area is a tremor in the jaw, a tremor in our tongue, and dysphagia, that is a difficulty in swallowing. So for Parkinson patient, but mind you, for Parkinson patient, nutrition is very important as their exercises and other therapies. Okay. So what kind of nutrition? Mainly the antioxidants. Okay. Like all other nutrition, mainly the antioxidants. So what kind of antioxidants? The you know all types of fruits, okay, and all types of vegetables, including the leafy vegetables. Okay, but now I have thought of something else also. Often I have just like for 3 months I worked in an elder care company, and I have seen what kind of problem they face while eating. So what we can do is we can think of some alternative, like some different kind of food for them. What is that? We can make some pish pash with you know boiled potato, smashed potato, rice, and minced chicken, and then serve it with some toppings of vegetables. And we can think of some very good dessert with smashed papaya, ripe papaya, because they feel sad also when they can't eat. So if you can make their eating easy, that would be a real prize for them, because they do want to eat. They have a perfect brain. They don't lose brain. Huh. But they have difficulty in swallowing. They won't have difficulty. In fact, CMIG, organized a very good workshop on a semi-solid, nutritious food, which would be also, very delicious. It was made with wheat, with, jaggery, with smashed this dust of nuts and pulses, and it was so tasty. It became semi-solid. You can add some milk also there. It is a dessert. But we should think of all these alternatives for their food, because we should try, and we can offer them some strawberry shakes, mango shakes, which would provide them nutrition, but at the same time they would have the same kind of happiness after eating. These things should be thought about them. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely, Niranjana, and thank you for the for the beautiful explanation. And I guess that right at the beginning of the show, as you said, that nutrition is a holistic approach. So
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. So having the happiness coming with the food is a very, very
Yes.
important part of a patient care and management of any geriatric disease. So that's a very, very relevant thing to say. And I found it very interesting regarding the food items that you explained, Nilanjana. One point here, the description that you gave, I understand the ingredients are easily available. So it is not something that is very
So the
tedious.
vegetables, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
vegetables, the fruits, these are
yeah,
very, very important. The nuts,
yeah,
okay. Huh.
yeah.
For children also, no, we give beautiful toppings on their food and all. We can make it interesting for elderly people also.
That's right. Absolutely. I fully agree with that. It is not just the food, it's the joy coming with the food, making the food
Yes,
more interesting for them. Thank you,
absolutely.
Nilanjana, for such a for raising this beautiful point. So if I move on to the next disease, when we were talking about elder care and elderly patients, Nilanjana, it would be incomplete if we don't talk about dementia. And the most common type of dementia, dementia can be of several types. A common type of dementia in the elderly is Alzheimer's, which leads to irreversible memory loss and cognitive decline. So this is a very complicated, or should I say, a challenging domain in itself. But let's see how much we can get to know from you regarding nutrition for the Alzheimer patients or dementia
Yeah,
patients.
for this dementia patients, dementia patients go through different stages. The first stage is they become, they become very restless. They lose their temper. They are not. They are still very fit, not unfit, but they do this. That's in the several stages that they pass through. They you know very gradually forget to remember, but they don't remember the recent past. They remember their past. Many a times I have seen they remember the past clearly. In the first few stages, what we can do, what I have thought, maybe my some of my friends have thought, we can talk over their talk about their past and ask them what kind of food their mother used to make. We can make those food, but mind you, in dementia patients also we need very a rich source of uh, rich source antioxidants, vegetables. We should cut down on meat, and we can give weekly servings of fish, but all these fish should be absolutely free from bones, because they also have problem in swallowing. Okay. In dementia patient in early stages, if we offer them some interesting food, what they want to have, we can do that. But in the later stages also, just like in Parkinson patient, we have to think of some antioxidants like fruit juice, some desserts with fruits, and also vegetables. The vegetables can be provided in the form of soup. Okay. And the chicken can be mixed up with the vegetables, and we can form a pie for them. So that it is swallowed easily, and they get all kinds of the milk is also milk, or milk product can also be thought like, just like I just now I gave you an example what we made in CMIG, that kind of with a mixture of wheat And in our pujas also we use that is called shinni, but that is also very tasty and very nutritious. you know with that milk, wheat, and some fruits, we mix everything with that, we can give it to dementia patient. But the dementia patient should be given fruits every day, vegetables every day, but you have to think of the menu, how will you serve it. Think of the stage of the patient, because they forget, once you give them the food, they keep it in their mouth and they forget to swallow. Okay, you have to keep on telling them. So the food should be semi solid, very well cooked, very well boiled, and at the same time colorful. The colored vegetables are, very very good medicine for the dementia patients, like all the colored vegetables, starting from carrot and chickpea dust we can give, then green gram greens. These are all very very necessary for dementia patients. Okay.
Okay. Okay, and that is very informative, Nilanjana. Thank you. And it's one of our viewers just made a comment which caught my attention. It's like a very empathetic way to describe geriatric nutrition. Thank you so much. Thank you, and I
Thank
fully
you.
agree. Fully agree
Thank
with
you.
that. Thank you. I would once again like to thank all our viewers who have joined us today. Thank you so much, Nilanjana. Thank you for explaining this. And before we move to the next part of our program, which is spirituality and fasting in the elderly, I have one question from one of our viewers, which I would like to take up. Divya is asking that what would Nilanjana like to say on processed food consumption in the elderly, because nowadays there's a lot of processed food in the market. We know that a lot of processed food is floating in the market. So what about what is the impact of processed food when it comes to elderly people?
Any kind of processed food, is bad for our health at any age. You know why? Because they add extra salt, they add sodium, they add extra, at times sugar also. And this salt, etc., these are very very necessary in processing as well as in retaining it, so that it is not destroyed with time. Okay, so these should be meticulously avoided in elderly population. And I'm sure that it should be avoided by younger people also, because they nowadays they spend such a lot of time for losing weight. This is one great reason for gaining weight. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I hope that you have got your answer. Thanks, Nilanjana. It should be meticulously avoided, and it should be avoided as much as possible and as much as feasible. So now we have almost reached the last leg of our program. So we would now go on to discuss another aspect of nutrition, Nilanjana, because throughout the talk show you have been approaching the concept from a very holistic way, and you have been addressing the different coordinates, of emotion, of the human aspect of it, the human face of it. Now let me come to one thing. When it comes to our grandparental generation or the geriatric population, when we're talking about them, we have seen a trend, especially among the ladies, that they practice a lot of spiritual or religious fasting. Sometimes they are like observing one festival or another festival, or there's a puja at home, there's a worship at home, and you would see that they're doing a lot of fasting and maintaining some strict dietary patterns. And there is a deep rooted emotion associated with that.
Yes.
So it would be great if you can share some thoughts regarding spiritual fasting in the elderly and nutrition.
Okay. In any case, it is said that fasting detoxifies our body.
Right.
Okay, it may detoxify, it does, but for elderly people, it is not possible, because, as I have told, the entire body undergoes different changes, and not only that, they have to take medicines time to time. your hypertension medicine and your sugar medicine, and many a times some medicines for other diseases also. So you can't do that in that way. Anyway, one thing I must mention before I go over to any other explanation, that spiritualism is like in elderly people, is not now being promoted because of a very new research work, that zero transcendence. If you can bank upon God as you get older, as you lose all other hopes, then you can get a lot of relief. So spiritualism is definitely, at times it helps people in geriatric, ages, and elderly people. They get a different kind of, strength in their mind. But however, in case of fasting, you should take water. Without water you cannot do fasting in after a certain age. Okay, and number one. Number two, there are several alternatives. Actually, in India, we take broken wheat, what we call dalia, in case of fasting during pujas. That is very, very nutritious. You can make dalia in different forms, in upma, in form of, khichdi, and that is extremely good for your health. But most interestingly, that the tapioca pulse, that is called sagu, in India, Shabudana in Bengali, that is a rich source of everything, all types of nutrients, and I'm sure that goes with spiritualism and fasting also. Before a puja, I have seen my mother and my aunts and others also, they can't do fasting like that, but they take that. And that is such rich in protein, calcium, that gives flavonoid and carbohydrate. So if you take a little bit of sagu, and even a half cup of tapioca pearl, that would serve you both the purpose. You will be on semi fasting stage, and that is accepted in all religious functions, and you can do your religious proceedings also. So that is it, that is there. Yeah, of course, definitely, fastings in the world, like intermittent fastings are not allowed. It cannot be encouraged in elderly people in any case.
Absolutely.
They can have fruit juice also, fruits and fruit juice, those are
Right.
also accepted.
Right. Dalia, sabu, fruit juice, and
Fruit juice,
fruit juice, and
yogurt, okay, little bit of yogurt, but yogurt they don't usually take that, what I have seen. But these things are, absolutely acceptable, and they should take this and go for it. Any kind of spiritual activity, I have seen, we have seen rather, that helps an elderly person, because you feel that some cosmic union, and somebody would be waiting for you
right,
after you leave this world. Okay.
right, right, right. That's beautifully explained, and thank you so much, Nilanjana, for giving that that philosophical and that philosophical explanation and the philosophical perspective of that. Because when it comes to aged care, these things are very much an integral part of the whole process. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, Nilanjana, thank you. I'm sure that the viewers have benefited from today's show, and it was very informative, and it discussed different types of geriatric diseases and the role of nutrition when it's coming to diabetes, osteoporosis, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, role of spiritualism, and in general, the biological explanation and the biological basis of the geriatric nutrition and how it changes with age. So I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Nilanjana today for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody who were present in this show. And thank you so much, Isha, for considering me at all, that I can at all, speak on this. Thank you
It was
so much.
it was a great pleasure having you. And before concluding the show, Nilanjana, would you just like to say one or two lines about this nutrition? Because we just had the National Nutrition Week, and you have been working on elder care and researching on nutrition for a while now. So just one or two lines of concluding.
That is very important. Nutrition is the basic thing. It's a that you if you give proper nutrition, if you can habit have a habit of proper having a proper food from a very young age, I'm sure that person will age very healthily. That is very, very important, even for the brain, for the mind, for your happiness, just as I said. But all kinds of nutrition, all kinds of food, when it comes to an elderly person, when it is being served to an elderly person, it should be served with love and emotion. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for emphasizing this point again and again. And as you said, eating healthy from a young age can help us age in a healthy way.
Aging
And
healthily, yes.
absolutely. And that is why today's tagline, the tagline of today's show was healthy eating, healthy aging.
Absolutely.
Many, many
Thank
thanks.
you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Nilanjana, for your time. And once again, thanks to all the viewers who joined us today and made the show a very good show and a success.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Thanks,
Thank you.
Aisha.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.